Good day everyone. I am Sunita as a math teacher. Today I am going to explain a part of geometry, that is lines and angles. So first let us recall the basic geometric terms in the lines and angles. The first one is the point. A point means an exact position or a location in a plane. It is denoted by a dot. And the next one, a line. A line, it is a straight path which extends indefinitely in both the directions, means it never ends. Example, a road that never ends, that is a line. Next, a line segment. It is a part of a line which has two endpoints and a definite length and a definite shape, and which has been as two endpoints. There are the two dot points which starts with one point and ends with the another point, that is called as a line segment. And you can take a corner or the edges of a projector is an example of a line segment. Next, a ray. Ray means which has one endpoint and other side there is a direction which goes forever without a terminating point for that. Means one endpoint and then definitely goes in one direction, that is called as a ray. And we can take an example, a sunlight which is falling from the sun. Next, more about the lines. There are a few more lines to learn about in this. One are the intersecting lines. Intersecting lines means the lines that cross each other. We can see here a scissor where we can see here this. There are the two lines where we cross to each other, means both these lines has only one intersecting point in between, and there are both the directions goes indefinitely. Next, a parallel lines. Parallel lines are the lines which never meets each other. They will be indefinitely move on in both the directions, and their distances are apart and they never cross each other and they never meet each other. And those lines are called parallel lines. Next, let us learn about the angles. First, let we know what is an angle. An angle is formed when the two rays meet each other at a common point. In this picture, you can see there are the two rays. There is a ray B, A, where it is going from B to A, and there is a one more ray BC. The starting point is B, which is as a one end point, and the other side it is going indefinitely, and there is a ray BC. When we join these two rays BA and BC, these two rays has a one common end point, that is the B, and that common end point is called as the vertex of that angle. And these two rays BA and BC are also called as the arms of the angle ABC. And you can see here in this naming, as already I told you that there is a ray AB and BC. In this picture you can see here there is a common vertex B, and this B is called as a vertex, and this BA and BC are called as the arms of the angle ABC. And how we are going to name it? First we take a point, one point on one ray and the vertex, next the other point on the other ray. Means we can name it as A, B, C, or we can also name it as C, B, A. Now let's learn about what are the types of angles. And before going to that, there are one more thing, that interior and exterior of an angles. Interior means the angle, the points which lies in the angle, means in the space of the angle. You can see in this picture there is a point F and a point R where they are within the angle, and there are the points P and a point X and a point T, and these are the 3 points which lies outside the angle, means those points are called as exterior points of angle ABC. Next, there is two more points you can see on the arms. There is a point A on the arm AB and there is a point C on the arm BC. These A and C are the points on the rays or on the angle ABC, and those are all called as the points which are lying on the angle ABC. And F and R are called as the interior points. P, X and T are called as the exterior points. Next, Coming to the types of angles, there are the 6 types of angles. One is the first acute, second right, third obtuse, fourth straight, fifth reflex and sixth full angle. Now let us learn one by one clearly what are those types of angles. The first one is acute angle. Acute angle means the angle which lies in between 0 and 90. Means it starts from the 0 angle and it ends before the 90 degree. Means the angles that lies between the acute angle are 0 to 89 degree angles are considered as acute angle. And the next is the right angle, an angle that is exactly 90 degree. Means it forms like an L, as if you see that by the two hands here, this shows an exactly 90 degree angle. For suppose there is a book. If I open like this indicates an acute, slightly if you open a corner of a book, it is called as an acute angle. If it is open exactly like L shape, then this book forms an angle 90 degree. Next, an obtuse angle, an angle that is more than 90 degree and less than 180 degree. Suppose if we open this book a little bit wide, then you can see a formation of an angle which shows an example of an obtuse angle. And always the angle which the value of the degree of the obtuse angle lies in between 0 and 180, means more than 90 and less than 180 degree. Next, a straight angle. Straight angle, an angle that is exactly 180 degree. Means you can take an example of a straight line, or you can take this as the stick. You can see here, we can form a straight line in this, and the angle which is at the center will be the 180 degree. Next angle, coming to the next angle is the reflex angle. Reflex angle is an angle that is more than 180 and less than 360 degree. Means always you can see here the pink color angle which here shows the curve shape here on this angle. This angle represents the reflex angle. One will be the terminal ray and one will be the rotating ray. And using these two rays there is a forming an angle 210 degree which is called as a reflex angle. Next, a full angle. Full angle means once if we complete one rotation using the two arms, then we can form an exactly 360 degree when it comes to the same position. Then that angle is called as full angle, or we can be called as a complete angle. Or here are the few examples of what are the types of angles we have learned till now. These are some of the examples of the yoga postures. The first posture will tell us about the acute angle, and the second one tells about the obtuse angle, where we can see here, we can see the angle position here, the person who is sitting here. There is a more than 90 and less than 180 degree. And the third one, it is a 180 degree, which is a straight angle position this posture is showing. And the next one, a reflex angle. And here the last one you can see here, it is a right angle. It is a right angle, the hands up and the legs down. You can see the formation of here the 90 degree angle. And here one more, you can see the posture. This posture is representing the complete angle for you, as it is a 360 degree. And here one more example, a clock positions is explaining for you that each angle how it is showing. See here the first one, the 2 o'clock is representing the 90 degree angle, which is called as an acute angle, which is less than 90 in this. Second one, exactly 90 degree, you can see here the 3 o'clock position, which shows the 90 degree angle. Next, the third one, obtuse. In this clock you can see there is a time 5 o'clock, which represents the obtuse, more than 90 and less than 180. And the next, it is a straight angle. You can see here the 6 o'clock time in the clock, which shows exactly forming a 180 degree angle. Next one, reflex angle. After completing 6, when you come to the 7, it shows that the angle is more than 180. So then it comes under reflex angle. The 7 o'clock time represents the reflex angle in the clock. Next, complete angle. Once if it is completes the one complete rotation of 1 hour, again it will come and rest at the position 12. So this 12 o'clock shows that it is forming an exactly 360 degree angle. Next, Next is when we pair like this, two angles, when we bring the two angles together, we can form a more pair of angles. So let us learn those, what are those the pair of angles. The first one is the adjacent angles. Adjacent angles means the two angles having a common vertex and the common ray. So if you see here in this, so in this picture, there is an angle ABC and there is an angle DEF. In these two angles, these two are doesn't have any common vertex and any common arm. If those two angles having any common vertex, if we join like this, if you can see in this picture, there is an angle ABD and there is one more angle BDCBD. In these two angles, there is a common vertex, both the angles having a point B, the vertex which is called as a common vertex for both the angles, and BD is the common ray sharing with the angle ABD and it is also sharing with the angle DBC. So when the two angles having a common vertex and also a common ray, then those angles formed by those two are called as adjacent angles. Next, vertically opposite angles. As I shown you before an example as a scissors. This we can take it as a vertically opposite example where the two lines cross each other. We can form a vertically opposite angles in this. Actually when the two lines cross each other, we can see here four angles formed by those. So next is vertically opposite angles. Vertically opposite angles are the pair of angles formed by the two lines intersecting at a point. So here in this we can see that there is a line AD and there is a line BC where these two lines cross each other at a point P, and at this point P you can say we can form a four angles. These two green color angles, the angles which are facing to each other, and those angles are called as opposite angles and they are also called as vertically opposite angles. In vertically opposite angles, these two angles are equal and this angle APB and angle CPD, those two angles are also equal. So in vertically opposite angles, we will form the four angles and the angles which are facing to each other, those are called as vertically opposite angles. Next, linear pair angles. Which angles are called as linear pair angles? So if the two angles, here also you can see that we are pairing two angles, one is APC, another angle is APD, and these two angles are paired to each other forming one side angle 60 degree, other side angle 120 degree, and also these angles are also we can call it as adjacent angles. And when we add these two adjacent angles, the sum is equal to 180 degree. Means from this we can understand that to make it as a linear pair angles, first there should be an adjacent angles and their sum is also 180 degree, and those two adjacent angles are called as a linear pair of angles. And next concept is a pair of angles formed by a transversal. Before going to that topic, let us know first what is a transversal. Transversal means a line that intersects two or more lines at different points is called as a transversal. Example, you can see in this picture, there is a line M using the points AB and there is a one more line N where CD is a line, the points on the line N, and this AB and CD lines are parallel to each other, and there is a one more line you can see in the picture, that is a line L, and this line L is intersecting the other two lines M and N at two distinct points. That is a point P, means the line G cuts the line M at a point P, and the same line L cuts the line N at a point Q, and the line which cuts the parallel lines at two distinct points, that line is called as a transversal. When this line is cutting the parallel lines, it is forming an 8 angles, means at a point P it is forming 4 angles, and at a point Q they are forming again 4 more angles. Together this transversal line making 8 angles with these 2 parallel lines M and N. And between those parallel lines, when there is forming an 8 angles, there is a connection between these 8 angles. These 8 angles are going to make a pair of angles, which are the 3 different types are named on that. That is, one is corresponding angles, and the other one is alternate angles, and the third one is interior angles. So first, this correspond, which pair of angles are called corresponding and which are called alternate angles, and the other interior angles, let me learn one by one together now. The first, corresponding angles. What are corresponding angles? In this 8 angles, when the 2 parallel lines are cut by a transversal, pairs of corresponding angles are formed. Means when this line L cutting the line M and N, that's forming an 8 angles. You can see in this the 4 different colors are made it in the picture. That point P you can see 4 angles, and at point Q you can see the other 4 angles. And there are the similar colors are also you can see on both the sides. Which angles are called corresponding means it is represented angle GPB is equal to angle PQU, and angle GPA is equals to angle PQD, angle BPQ equals to angle EQF, and angle APQ equal to angle DQF. Similar, it is easy to remember in this when a transversal cuts the 2 parallel lines M and N, which pair of angles are called as corresponding means both the angles which lies on the same side of the transversal. Means if you can see in this APG and DQP, these 2 angles are lying on the same side of the transversal. Again on the other side, GPB and EQP, and these 2 pink color angles which represents the pink color, those 2 are also lying on one side of the transversal. In those 2, one is an exterior angle and another one is an interior angle. So to say a corresponding angles, there should be a 2 pair of angles and they should be lie on the same side of the transversal, and again in that one more point, one should be exterior, one should be interior, and those 2 angles are called as an corresponding angles, and those corresponding angles are equal. Next, alternate angles. Here you can see in this again there is a blue color angles representing and a red color angles representing, which in this these 4 are lying in between the parallel lines and one more point, and they are on the different sides of the transversal. Can see here the blue color angle which represents APQ, that is on one side of the transversal, and one more angle PQE which lies on the other side of the transversal. So to say in an alternate angles, they should be on the different sides of the transversal and both should be interior, and those type of angles are called as alternate angles. Next, interior angles, and also we can say it as an co-interior angles. Means there are one more pair of angles which are lying in between the parallel lines and they should be on the same side of the transversal. You can say in this 120 and 60 degree, both are interior and they are lying on one side of the transversal, and the other side 60 and 120, those both are again the other side of the transversal. When we add up these 2 angles 120 and 60, if it gives us sum 180, and those 2 interior angles are called as a co-interior angles. If the sum is always equal to 180 degree, then those 2 are called as co-interior angles. Means the measures of interior angles in each pair add up to 180. Then pair of interior angles always lies on the same side of the transversal. So we can see here the lines and angles. So mainly are the building blocks of our geometry and also for our life. Now you know them and you can be see wherever you go. So now keep exploring and keep questioning and keep thinking about that. Thank you.